Okay, Chair, you may proceed.
During the closed session, the board approved closed session minutes under item 13.1, and staff provided the Prescott Police Services Board with information on item 13.2, identifiable individual. Could I have that motion read, please?
Yes, through you, Chair. The proposed motion that the board has here is that the Prescott Police Services Board directs staff to proceed with the following actions in relation to the owner's license for A1 taxi. 1, uphold the 2-week suspension for the owner's license until March 8th, 2022. 2, further extension of the suspension of the owner's license until March 31st, 2022. And 3, issue a $2,000 fine.
Do I have a mover? Moved by Brett Todd, seconded. Mike Ostrander. All those in favor? The motion is carried. Right. And we will now proceed with item number 2, approval of the agenda. No, sorry.
Through you, Chair, we already approved the agenda before when we went into closed session. So you're on item number 3, declarations of interest.
Are there any declarations of interest? None. There are no presentations, and there are no delegations. Item 6 is a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting held on January 27, 22. That the Police Services Board minutes dated January 27, 2022 be accepted as presented. Do I have a mover and seconder for this motion? Moved by Mike Ostrander, seconded by Brett Todd. All in favor? Motion is carried. There are no items listed under the action items or information items. Let's move on to the police services report. The report under 8.1 is the police service report for the month of January 2022, provided by Detachment Commander Joshua Kingsley. Can we have that report, please? Sort of putting the cart before the horse, but.
Good evening, everybody. Does everybody have a copy of the report, or Lindsay, did you want to put it up on the screen, or?
I can put it up if the board likes. It'll just take me 1 second here.
There.
I can do that, Lindsay, if you'd like, and free up your computer. It's up to
Share
you.
the screen.
Thank you, sir. So I'm going to start. This is the January report for 2022. When we start with our violent crimes category, I'm happy to report that we are trending downwards compared to the same time period from 2021. So total violent crimes in this reporting period is 2. We had 1 assault, which it remains in an open status because the victim has decided to not proceed with the investigation. And we had 1 other crime against person. So overall, we've had a reduction of 75% of violent crimes within the month of January, which is the same for our year-to-date numbers. When we go down to our property crimes, we've had an 87% reduction in property crimes compared to the same time period last year. So we only had 2 crimes reported in the month of January, 1 being a fraud, which was in relation to a pop-up scam on someone's computer. There was no loss for that victim. And the other being a mischief, which was a tire being slashed within the town. When we go look at our drug crimes, we arrested 1 drug trafficker in the month of January, which was status quo compared to the same time period last year. Going to our clearance rates, our clearance rates for violent crimes are sitting at 50%. And that is because the 1 crime, the victim declined to proceed with the investigation, so it remains in an open status. Our property crimes, the 2 property crimes we had remain open. The fraud, there was no loss. and the mischief remains unsolved at this point. And our one drug trafficker, which was arrested, resulted in a 100% clearance rate for our drug crimes. So overall, we're sitting at a 40% clearance rate, which is up slightly from the January time period of last year. When we go to the next page, we have had no policy, service, or conduct complaints against any of our members within Grenville County. In terms of our intelligence-led policing, we had 11 offenders in the program, and we conducted 18 compliance checks, which resulted in no offenses being laid against those offenders. So these are offenders that are released from the courts back into the community on conditions to abide by either curfew or alcohol or drug conditions. So when we did our compliance checks, everyone was following the rules. We had a total of 131.5 patrol hours and 22.5 foot patrol hours within Prescott during this month. And when we look at our detachment initiatives, we had one media release completed for a warrant execution in Prescott on the 27th of January. There were 3 persons charged with multiple drug offenses. We seized multiple drugs, digital scales, cash, and also a 12-gauge shotgun and ammunition. All the persons charged were residents of Prescott. In terms of our crime and traffic campaigns, we conducted we still have municipal ride grants for this fiscal period that we're using, and we conducted one ride grant within the month of January, which did not result in any impaired driving charges. In terms of Safeguard Ontario, because we had no break-and enters reported during this month, it was not offered to any persons, but we do continue to have a person designated to offer those services should someone become victim of a property crime or a break-and enter, I should say. In terms of other, we had 4 visits with our mobile crisis response team in Prescott, and those included initial and follow-up connections to those engaging in community services. When we look at our calls for service, I'm just going to go to the total year-to-date billing summary. In 2021 for January, we were at 700.7 hours. Because of the reduction in calls for service, we're currently sitting at 360 billable hours. So we're down approximately half for the overall billable hours. Subject to any questions, that's the January report.
Any questions for the inspector? No? Excuse me, no. Then that the Police Services Board report for January 2022 be accepted as presented. Do I have a mover? Mike Ostrander. Do I have a seconder? Mayor Todd. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Joshua. Let's move on now to the bylaw update. Sean?
Through you, Chair. As you know, we have now completed 4 months of the winter parking. It will expire on March 31st. And I'm happy to report that to date, only 20 tickets when this report was written were issued and only 12 vehicles had been towed. It is interesting. I looked up from 3 years ago. Approximately 3 years ago, we were sitting at 362 vehicles towed and over 500 tickets issued. So I would think the education campaign and opening up some permit availability in the municipal parking lots can be deemed a success in driving these numbers down. Staff continue to meet with the OPP and other community members regarding issues including homelessness and mental health concerns. And this period actually did include a visit with fire, police, and mental health and bylaw regarding a property that had life safety issues in regard to fire detection and separation. I really can't stress enough how appreciative staff is of the OPP. They have been just excellent in making sure that we are notified and kept appraised and it's just speeding up the process all the way around to make sure people aren't living in dangerous situations. Also, the new animal control bylaw is in effect as of January 1st, and to date, last year, 50 animal tags have already been issued, including 5 tags issued to cat owners. The letters will be going out by the end of the month to those that had tags last year to remind them to come in and to renew it. But again, so far, great public feedback in relation to at least they understand the purposes behind the animal control bylaw and the fact that cats can cause as much damage in the community as dogs when they're not properly supervised. And that is my report for the month, Chair.
Are there any questions or concerns? No? Well, thank you, Sean. Is there anything under old business? New business? Are there any suggestions? Sorry, was that Lindsay? No, oh, sorry. Then are there any suggestions for this month's PSB service announcement? Should we continue with what we've used for last month?
I do have a suggestion. I'm
gonna ask. Thank you.
yeah, frauds are up 131% overall. I believe stand by. It may be Fraud Prevention Month. I'm just actually looking at the report here, but it might be worth having, since frauds do contribute to loss and victimization. It may be worth having that information. It is Fraud Month this month, so it might be worth just reinforcing that through local PSAs.
Okay.
But overall, they are up in the province 131%, which is a significant increase from this time period last year.
If everybody's okay with that, can we coordinate that? Perhaps perhaps put something in there that the parking ban is still on till March 31st. Just give everybody a heads up, because I'm sure we're going to get some good weather and everything, I hope. Okay. If there are no further questions or concerns on any of the items, I guess we'll move to adjournment. And we're looking, I have a motion that this meeting adjourn to Thursday, March 24th, 2022 at 8:30 a.m.
Sorry, Chair.
Yes,
Having met, I didn't update the motion. I apologize. Having met already in March, we thought we would move it to March 31st, just the week after that, if that works for the board.
oh, okay. Is that good with everybody? Yes, okay. Then I stand corrected that this meeting adjourned to Thursday, March 31st, 2022 at 8:30 a.m. Do I have a mover? Moved by Brett Todd, seconded by Mike Ostrander. All those in favor? It's so carried. And it is 6:23.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. If anyone's got to drive anywhere tonight, stay safe.